In music, seventh chords add extra spice to a song, but what exactly are sevenths and how do you play them? To see how they work, let's look at the key of C major as an example. The notes in this pattern are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and to pick out the 7 basic triads from this scale, all we have to do is start on each respective scale degree and combine every other note to get C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished. These are the 7 triads derived from the C major scale, and you can arrange them in different ways to compose chord progressions like this little pattern. Using just these simple triads, it sounds awesome actually, but to kick things up a notch and add some more sonic flavor, we can throw in some 7th chords and this progression sounds even better. That was the same progression as before, but with 7th chords to add some nuance and depth. But then what are 7th chords? Well, just as each triad is built by combining every other note, like this C major chord, built from notes C, E, and G, we can continue this alternating pattern to skip A, or interval 6, to add B, or interval 7, to our chord to create what's called a 7th chord, as the name implies. 1, 3, 5, 7. This is really all that a 7th chord is. It's just a basic triad that's been expanded to include the interval of a 7th. There's just 2 things to keep in mind. In our C major example, where we added the B note, that's technically called a major 7 chord, since the B is only a half step below the chord's root, C. And while it sounds good, musicians often lower the major 7 to play what's called a minor 7, which is a whole step below the root, like this B flat note, which gives the chord an edgier, sort of bluesy sound. So although this chord is built from intervals 1, 3, 5, and flat 7, it's so common that musicians still just call it a 7th chord, as opposed to the major 7 chord. That's the first point to keep in mind, that the term 7th chord usually just refers to triads with an added flat 7 in particular. And then the second point is that every chord in a key has its own 7th note. For example, the D minor chord, D, F, and A, built on scale degree 2, has a 7th note, or a flat 7, which is a whole step below D, and that is C. Now in the key of C, C of course is interval 1, but C is still the 7th of D. So we say that D minor 7 is made from notes D, F, A, and C. Likewise, E minor 7 is made from notes E, G, B, and D. And then we have F major 7, because it's F, A, C, and E, which is a half step below F. G7, A minor 7, B diminished 7. So using the 7th chords, you can give a chord progression way more depth and nuance.